Lance Hall here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. Happy to welcome Marcus, lead vocalist for Demon Head, to the program. How are you doing this evening, Marcus?
Hello, Lance. Good evening. I'm very well, thank you.
New album. Help me on this pronunciation of this. Is it Viscera?
I think we have decided collectively on using Visera, which is the Danish Latin pronunciation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my best to pronounce it that way, but I might just leave it up to you.
However you like is good.
All right, it's coming out January 29th on Metal Blades Record. This is your first album for the Metal Blades label. You signed with them back in July. You got to be excited to be on a label like that.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
We've been looking through the old Metal Blade catalog, and my teenage self would be very excited, and wouldn't believe, being on the same label that released legendary metal albums.
Yeah, definitely. Big time stuff there. Now, this album was recorded early in 2020. This was prior to the virus, I take it?
Yeah, exactly. We were actually done with it 2 weeks before the Danish lockdown.
Give me a little background on the title, Viscera. Did I say that right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
It's well, as we were writing the songs together or finishing the arrangements, and I've been writing the lyrics. I'm a big searcher for perfect words, which of course don't exist, but they do exist momentarily, and I think Viscera was one of them. It's a short word, beautiful letters, and I think it expresses something between what goes on inside humans, sort of the ghost and the machines thing, while points to something deeper than emotion, but also to the actual blood and guts of what's inside.
Okay, that's what I was going to get to, because when I looked it up, I Googled it, of course, and it came to, the internal organs, guts, like you said, soft, fleshy part of the body, all that along too. But you took it a little bit further than that. That's very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I guess something visceral is also an experience that is, I understand as a register deeper than emotion.
Okay. You got 10 songs on here. This was recorded at Sweet Silent Studios. Some of it was, and then parts of it were recorded at a remote house in Sweden, I read.
That's right.
Yeah.
We've always, since our first demo tape, we've recorded almost everything by ourselves. Partly to figure out, to play with the sounds and to have complete control, but also because we take a long time to record. We like being secluded and really go into our own world, and so we found out this is a way to do it. There's not a lot of studio technicians that will put up with you for a month.
Yes. And then you worked a little bit when you were in Sweet Silence with, is it Flemming Rasmussen? Did I get that name right?
Yes, that's right.
Was he like an engineer, producer, or?
Can you say again? Sorry.
Was he like an engineer, producer for you guys, or just someone who was helping you to record?
He's an engineer. He's produced some people might know him for. He did a lot of records since I think the 70s. He's been doing Rainbow, Metallica, Morbid Angel, and all Danish pop stuff since then.
Nice.
He's extremely talented, and we wanted to take the drum and bass recording, which is the hardest first part. We wanted to take it out of our own hands so we could focus on just the musical part of it, right?
Okay.
And he definitely got it on the tape, as you could say.
Definitely. And then the album was mixed, and the first name is Martin. I'm gonna let you go with the second name on this because I don't even dare to try to pronounce this.
Ehrenkrona.
Okay.
But that's a Swedish name, so I'm not even sure I'm getting it right.
Now, had you worked with Martin before?
No, we haven't. The last album we mixed ourselves. We've done that with two of the previous ones. But the last time we mixed our album ourselves, first we did 20 days of recording in our own studio, and then we had, I think, 30 consecutive days of mixing where Birk was basically living in me and Mikkel's flat. That's the guitarist and bass player, respectively. And we were mixing from the early morning to the early night. And this time, I think we wanted a competent person to take care of that side. And I think he's done an excellent job. He really got the atmosphere, and I think he looked a lot at it as music rather than a specific genre.
Let's get into the, like you said, with the atmosphere and the music and everything. I listened to Nikki got me an advanced download of it. I listened to the album last night a couple of times. I don't think I've ever heard a more, and I'm saying this completely complimentary, such a dense kaleidoscope of sounds as I have on this album. And I was reading about how you had used a bunch, not only guitar, bass, drums, but so many other instruments and effects and everything as well, and really pulled together awesome on this album. I don't think I've ever heard anything quite like it.
Thank you so
much. Want to jump into a few of the tracks. I made some notes on a couple of them. Opening track, Tooth and Nail. I loved the whole atmospheric opening of it. I thought the guitar solo was excellent, and this is where I really went with that kaleidoscope of sound, because the way it started and then the direction it went into were just so many different ways. Tell me a little bit about that one.
Yes, it's I think we chose it quite early in the process. It was chosen as the opener for this work because it contained a lot of the atmosphere that I think are predominant in the songs, but it also has an energy that's, it's a bit held back, but I think that makes it maybe even more expressive. It's for this album. Previously, for the last 3 albums, we've been writing the songs together in the rehearsal space. So rehearsing 3 or 4 times a week for many hours and jamming endlessly until things were sort of in place. This time it's Birk, the guitar player. He's composed most of the music on the album, and he lives in Ireland now.
Okay.
So he sort of did it on his acoustic guitar on a hilltop where he lives.
Nice.
Over a period, then recorded demos and sent them to us.
Nice.
So it's been different for us, but I think Tooth and Nail is a great entryway into his tonal language on this record, and I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, fantastic song. Want to jump ahead to track 4, Magical Death. The word I have here is doomy. Very doomy, kind of dark. Great vibe on it, though. How about a little background on that one?
So yeah, it's a sinister song, and I think the harmonies, the melodies in that one, I think you can barely call them riffs, but it's almost orchestral. But orchestral, I don't know. I'm not that much into classical music, but one of the composers I really like is Liszt. Liszt, and I think it's sort of Doom by Liszt. We're not. It's again Birk's work here is he composed the whole song. If you notice, can actually be played on one guitar and a voice, and you have all the same harmonies. But he wrote it, and we've been working on it. I think it's one of the shortest songs, full band songs that we've made.
Yeah.
But it's also one of the most violent ones. And the lyrics deal with modern warfare.
Speaking of the shorter songs, you definitely got some ones, Arrows, like 1:46. You got Looping Choir, which is 1:31. And then I was looking at the title of this, A Long Groaning Descent, and I'm expecting a long song, and that one is 1 minute and 31. Were these sort of spliced in there just as sort of like interlude pieces to things, or what was the purpose of the shorter songs as compared to some of the longer stuff?
I think we began with this already on the second album, but we've always thought a lot about an album as a whole thing, where everything is connected. And so we composed these interludes together to sort of glue everything together and provide some chapters in the story that are not necessarily too spelled out, not too big entities in themselves.
Yeah.
Sort of when you read a book and there's a short chapter with some hints to a background story or mythos that sets the other chapters in a different light.
Nice. Track 8, Black Torches, was probably, I think, my favorite track. I made the note, favorite track. I love the way it opened and closed. Is that like an old church organ or something? I saw where you guys used that on the opening.
It's, first of all, thank you. It's a church organ that Birk has been playing. He composes music, he works as a composer as well. And he's been recording this church organ in an old Danish church. So we used his recordings from that on the track. And I think you're right. I like that song a lot. Yeah, I think it has a lot of development. It starts off really atmospheric and sort of low key, and then explodes into this really big orchestral metal thing, I think.
Yeah, it's excellent. I like the drums on that track as well. I thought that the drummings were really good on that one.
Yeah. Jeppe is. If you notice, if you think about it, there's almost no hi-hat on this record.
Yeah.
Which is the basis of a rock rhythm normally, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But I think he only uses it with his left foot on the whole record.
The last track, Triumphal Chariot of Antimony.
Yes.
I found it interesting that you picked the last track of the album as your first single release and your first video release. How did that come about?
I guess we talked a lot about back and forth, which is the first song we would show to people we know. And we decided on the Triumphal Chariot of Antimony because it's quite different from what we've done before, I think. I think it really shows the newer sound and music language that we've been working with, which is a lot darker.
Yeah.
And the harmonies are, it's dissonant, but it's also very melodic. It's also a song where I really was forced to scream once in a while to do the music justice.
Yeah. The video for that song is really fascinating as well, and I was reading about it. It was filmed at an old church ruin in Sweden.
That's right.
Yeah. Is it Kilhut? Am I pronouncing that right? The town that it was in?
Kilhult.
Okay. Okay.
It's a ruin near where Mikkel, the bass player, lives.
Okay.
He lives in Sweden now, and we've been there before, hanging out in the old ruin, and we thought we've never wanted to do a music video that shows us playing before because we wanted to focus on the music, but I think it actually captures quite well the live energy.
Yeah.
We were playing the song, set it up, everything was full volume, so it was, for us, sort of like a live concert.
And then I was amazed to see a sax player enter the fray there as well. I mean, but then again, you guys use so many different instruments, in this, but I thought that fit in really well with that song. It just gave it that deeper deeper sound, you know?
Yeah, it's there's quite a lot of brass. It's actually on the record. It's from a mellotron.
Okay.
But live and in the video we had our friend Anders, who plays in a brilliant black speed metal band called Select. We had him join us on saxophone, which really adds to it.
The other thing that you guys did for me was really improve my vocabulary, because I had to look up the definition of antimony as well. And that's a metallic element?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or semi-metal at least.
Yeah.
And it has an interesting etymology, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Because people are not quite sure where the word comes from, but one possible interpretation is actually monk killer.
I didn't read that.
Whereas another one is never alone.
Okay.
And the lyrics of the song deal with a sort of totalitarian group professing their vision for the future and progress, which is a very what's called fundamentally Christian inspired. So the song sort of uses those themes as well.
So a totalitarian group, with their idea. Was this written before the virus came out? Almost sort of prophetic there.
Yes, it is. It's I think we're not an overtly political band in the lyrics, or at least in the expression of the music, but we have this. I write the lyrics, so I can say that there's definitely an emancipatory. How would you say it? Sort of. Sorry, I'm missing the right word, but it's an emancipatory message in there as well.
Yeah.
And therefore, of course, a critique of totalitarianism.
Right. Interesting stuff. Very interesting. Cover art. The cover is very dark, very again dense would be the word that would come to mind. How did the cover art come about?
Well, it's only now that I've looked at it again after a small pause, that I'm seeing that it doesn't actually doesn't necessarily jump in your face and tell you what it is.
Yeah.
But it is it's something called a Haruspex, which is a sculpture, a small object found in Etruria, which is ancient Italy. And so this sculpture, this object, is shaped after a liver. So it's used for entrails divination.
Okay.
And the person doing the divination would be looking at the symbols, and they tell where in the entrails certain deities or demons or spiritual aspects of the world, where they sit in the actual gut. And I thought this was the perfect object, because a lot of the record is about how humans make sense of the world in the face of meaninglessness. And this, is both actually very inside the body, but it's also the whole world that's contained in there. Mikkel has modified it and printed it with our friend Johanna on fabric, which gives this lovely texture to it. I'm really happy about how it turned.
Excellent. Fascinating stuff. I also saw where this is coming out on cassette as well. A lot of people have made a big deal about vinyl making a comeback, but in the last year or two, cassettes have made a pretty big comeback as well. Do you have a lot of pre-orders for the cassette copy of it?
Actually, the pre-order for the cassette, I think, is not up yet.
Okay.
But we are cassette enthusiasts, especially, I think, myself and Mikkel, the bass player. We've always released our older bands and every Demon Head release has been on cassette as well. It's a lovely format. It's quite cheap to make.
Yeah.
The sound when highly dynamic music hits the magnets, I think it sounds fantastic. It's my favorite format. And if you don't like the tape, you can always record something else over it, which is brilliant as well.
Yeah. You've also got your website out, www.demonhead.org. Some good stuff on there. Going forward now, I mean, seems like everybody, this is how most interviews go, everything's on hold. Do you have any more videos in the can? What are the plans, going forward for Demon Head?
Well, yeah, with the pandemic, a lot of things have changed, right? But we're positive. There's a new video coming out soon.
Okay.
I do not know the exact date, but it's coming before the release, which is a video for the second song of the album, The Feline Smile.
Okay.
Animated by this very talented guy called David Tellin. So that's coming. And then in January we have, if everything goes according to plan, we actually have 2 or 3 release concerts here in Copenhagen.
Okay. Nice.
COVID safe, of course, but seated concert for, I think, 150 people each. So we're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody just wants to get on stage again,
Yeah, we wonder how it will be.
I think I would anticipate, people maybe being a little subdued, but truly wanting to really jump out of their seats. I think once this is all over and everything's behind us, I think live music is going to be really an event myself, Yeah,
in a way, I think people will, when you are deprived of something, you also remember what you really enjoy in life, right?
Absolutely.
And I miss concerts.
Absolutely.
Going to.
Yep, I agree.
But going to the future, we're planning a tour next year with our friends in Select, with a saxophone player's band.
Right.
That hopefully will happen a month tour through Europe, and then we are writing the next album.
Excellent. We're chatting with. What's that? Excuse me, I kind of jumped in there.
We plow on. Yeah. Always.
Absolutely. Chatting with Marcus, lead vocalist for Demon Head, their 4th album, Viscera, coming out January 29th on Metal Blade Records. Look for it now. You can get all the packages and stuff. Check out the website, www.demonhead.org. You can get it on cassette as well. Marcus, I always like to end my interviews with just some fun, silly questions. Would you be up for a few of those?
Sure. I can try.
All right. It's getting late at night, like it is over there where you're in your part of the world, and you're getting hungry. What do you grab for a late night snack?
I'm a vegetarian, so I drink a glass of soy milk.
Okay. Favorite toy growing up as a child?
Bow and arrow.
Bow and arrow? All right. Other than any stuff that you have worked on, say with Demon Head or anything that you're in, what's the last music you listened to other than your own?
Yeah, I was just listening to this Swedish heavy metal band called Nightmare.
Okay.
The LP which I am mastering right now.
Okay.
So that's a good band from Gothenburg for people to check out.
All right, we'll have to check them out. Nightmare. Given your choice of household chores, would you rather do the dishes or the laundry?
Always rather do the dishes.
Okay. What is a day off from music like for you? If you're going to take a day and just step away from music, what do you do?
Drink a lot of coffee, take a swim, and if it's really an excellent day, I get to take a walk in a forest.
Nice. What's the oddest job you've ever held?
Oh, it's not that odd, but I've been a dishwasher for many years.
Okay. Last one, and this is the one we have the most fun with. If they were to make a movie of your life, what actor would you pick to portray you in the movie? And it's your movie, your life. You can pick anybody.
I'm I'm very bad with names of actors, but I think Rowan Atkinson would do a pretty good job of doing that.
Mr. Bean, eh?
That's Mr. Bean. Yeah.
I love that. I love his stuff. So that's a great answer. All right, Marcus, I appreciate you very, very much staying up so late over there and chatting with me tonight. We've been talking via Skype, had a great connection here. Once again, Marcus, lead vocalist for Demon Head album. Give us that album title with your pronunciation one more time.
Visera.
Okay. Coming out January 29th on Metal Blade Records. And look forward to that and look forward to getting out and playing live again soon.
Yes. Thank you so much, Lance.
Take care, Marcus. Have a good rest of your evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.